Hi, this is Didi Sanchez, and this is my channel, Scrappy Gamer DDS. I'm dropping this video here for you guys from Edison, New Jersey. We were all at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo this past August, and as part of the Friday latest and greatest card swap, I had put forth my card, didn't put a recipe, had started making this video prior to the show, got caught up in all the craziness getting ready for the show, and packing my stuff and packing my crafts and costumes, and well, you were there. So I thought I would put together my how-to process and let you guys in on what I did. So if you are interested in that, please hang on and I will walk you through it. I will be cutting the video here and there as we go, speeding stuff up as needed, and then towards the end I will be giving you a look-see on the cards that I took, because we were entitled to 20 of the cards made by all of the fabulous crafters that were there. So, my thumbnail, you can see my card, and so I will tell you exactly what I did in order to get that card produced and ready for show. So give me a minute and I will walk you through the process. So this is a voiceover because as I like to create, I have YouTube, of course, in the background, either for this hobby of crafting or my other hobby, which is board games, which is where my crazy name comes from. So what I'm showing you here, and I know I showed a couple of things already, where I use pre-made black card bases with envelopes, a piece of white cardstock that will be the inserts and matte, a piece of regular standard like Staples vellum. And this is where I was trying to be clever in this process. I have a piece of Epson glossy paper. Now the original was done with HP glossy paper, so this is a slight variation, but I kind of made the match and I'll go over that process with you. I had to use some dies, so I'm showing you the butterflies thinlet dies from Stamping Up and the bold butterfly framelit dies. And then the other items that I'm using is a stamp from the Follow Your Dreams set from Stamping Up. These are the newest sets, so this definitely is available still, and the other ones may or may not be available since they changed their branding and they're now doing this black and white thing. I am a demo, but I'm not the best demo in the world because I don't know my codes off the top of my head. I'm showing you the little bits of odds and ends, glue dots, gems. This is my oxide. I have like every set. Aren't we just horrible like that? Every set of oxides, and I bought a fourth set while we were there at the expo over at Nicole Peterson. So here I'm just taking out the pads that I had used, and let me tell you the colors, because I know I'm showing things to the screen but I feel like it's not close enough. I don't have the automatic up and down zooming, so I'm just going to look at them right now. They're in front of me while I'm pulling them out of the bag over there. And the first one, blue, was the Faded Jeans Distressed Oxide, and this was from set one. I think I motioned, so I was just letting you know it was set one. And then I picked out the, here we go, and then I picked out the, let's see, so I can make sure that I'm giving you them in the right order. I'm watching the video as we go. Wow, maybe I should cut some of this out. But anyway, the picked raspberry, which is the pinker color, and the seedless preserves, which is the purplish color. Both of those are from set number two. So I have picked up everything, and I think I motioned just now that it's set number two. I'm showing them to you. I can't read them, and I'm on the screen with it on my computer. So just taking out my supplies. And so why I use the stressed oxide. So while this is going on, I'm going to tell you my process because of what I was thinking I was going to do. Everyone's using Yupo paper. Tim Holtz got all these different techniques coming out. And being that we're crafters and have a million and one supplies, I definitely wanted to try a technique. But Yupo paper is like crazy expensive. Well, I got a ton of photo paper. It's glossy, so I thought I was going to be clever. So basically, this is how my background that, you know, I think it's like a galaxy kind of, I don't know, has that kind of vibe, came to be. Because I just went to town thinking something was going to happen and something totally different. Oh, here I'm just showing off my cover. I made these. I had some at Expo. Nobody peeped my table, but I had them. Yeah, I put them for sale, but it's hard to market. I can't do the whole Etsy thing. So anyway, if you're in Queens, holla at me. So here I don't know what I'm getting. So, oh, I know what I'm getting the craft mat, because as much as my table is a horrible mess, I am definitely going to be making even more of a mess, and I don't want to do that. So, gonna get the craft mat and put that out. And then I'm gonna go through the blending. And I know that everyone says how these guys blend so beautifully, but let me tell you, it's not easy, or I'm very lazy. I don't know, one of the two. It takes a lot to blend these guys, and I just blended until they weren't that obvious, but I still have the white, and I just the roundedness of the blending tool, and I kind of just was like, hey, it's it's cloud. And it's handmade. So I think right now I'm gonna stop for a minute, my chatter. I'll be right back because I'm doing voiceover, but I'm gonna speed up the process of the blending. I think I've been jammering along. I know the blending takes a good couple minutes. So here I'm just showing you that the photo paper is shiny, and so we will get to the blending right now. Okay, this is going to speed up. I'm just uncovering everything, laying out my sponging tools, and now I'm going to town. I'm just making any rhyme or reason all over the place. The purple is the purple, but when you mesh the blue with the pink, you kind of get a different kind of purple tone. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm blending as much as I can. I don't mind if areas are lighter than others, and you're going to see that. So I'm pretty much done. That was at 8 times the speed. And now I'm adding the water. So the water is going to react with the oxide. And when I did it the first time, it actually lifted up a lot of the oxide. And I had these white speckles and different striations on there. So I'm dabbing, hoping that these white blotches would come out because they added a little bit of like interest to the card. And it's like not happening. So it is doing the oxide thing that it should, which is creating that water white effect, and that's part of the card that was originally given on the swap. So I'm just making sure the water is wet because dry, duh, because the photo paper gets a little sticky. So I put it off to the side, and then I'm cutting out my thinking process because I bring it back. So I sat there for a couple of seconds and thought about it and said, no, I want the white. So what I went and did was I pulled out another supply to mimic my original card. So let's say you get some photo paper and you try to do this. If it doesn't work out and you don't get those white and you really want those white blotches where it pretty much lifts the entire paint oxide off, guess what? Get some white splattering going on. We all have mists and stuff in our stash, and it actually came out pretty good. You need to do this first because this definitely needs to dry because, like I said, it gets a little sticky, and then you'll need to. So I'm using Dilutions white ink. So that's what I want to show you there. So now I'm going to go and start doing everything else. What I'm going to start with here is to cut out the bases for the matting on the front because the pink and blue galaxy, I'm going to call it that, was actually matted on white and then embellished. And then because it's a black card base, I had to include a white insert so that you could write any kind of sentiment that you wanted to. I'm going to stop for a minute. I'm going to chop the video here and let you see some stuff happening in speed, and then I'll come back with some more detail as that speed is going on. So I'm speeding up this process of trimming the mats out and then realizing that the blade needs to be changed. So I am just passing a regular old sandy block from the dollar store and getting all the fuzzies off the edges, and then I'm cutting up the rest of my paper. So I cut the vellum up, and then I realized that I needed additional mats because I need actually two for each card. And again, because I haven't changed the blade, I have to deal with this the fuzzies. So I figured I'd speed this up really quickly and just talk about how sometimes, we probably could have saved all this time if I would have just changed the damn blade. But once this gets done, I put that to the side, and then I have to die cut all my butterflies. And the butterflies actually are in two pieces. There's a top layer and a bottom layer. I could have just put the black, but I wanted the white to add that cloudy kind of feel to it, which is why I decided to do the vellum butterflies. So I am taking a look at how they work together. I originally was going to, I thought that the framelit had to go on top of this, but then I realized that no, they just match perfectly. Even though they're from two different sets from Stamping Up, they're perfectly match. So I decided to take a shortcut. I am folding the paper. The cardstock is a card base. It's a little bit thicker. Not 110, maybe pushing 80. I'm not quite sure because it's from one of those packages of card bases. So I run it through, and I'm crossing my fingers that this is going to work through double thickness. And lo and behold, it seems to have popped out marvelously. And so I am just separating them and getting those black little bits everywhere. I decided to do the other side because I did have success. And I do the other side, and then the fourth one and the third one don't want all the pieces to come out. So I have to reset them. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm resetting them. So you know how you have your die and you just like lay it over and you feel that it's set in there. I did that, and luckily it fit on top perfectly, and I didn't have to run and get another piece of cardstock, and I just were able to take out all the little bits and pieces. So I sped that up, and now I have my 4 butterflies, and there we go. So the next part is going to be to do the vellum. So again, it is a framelit. Vellum is super thin, so I am going to try to cheat the machine and not have to run it through 4 times. And actually, it does work out. So I'm just, letting you see this whole thing because, I want to save this little square of vellum on the end because that's what we do, right? We save every little bitty scrap, and then we wonder why our craft rooms are a hot mess. So anyway, I'm gonna get the 4 little vellum butterflies that are gonna do the layering. So it's not gonna be adhere flat. I actually zhuzh up the wings when I present the card. It's not something that I guess once you put in the envelope you kind of lose that effect, but it's all in what our idea was, and if we had any way we can kind of like set that up. I was thinking of putting like pop dots, but you'll see towards the end as I'm finishing up this card. So right now I'm done with the die cutting. You could die cut your backgrounds if you had a rectangle die or something of that nature. I just pretty much cut them out. So that's going to be the next process here, which is to cut out the background. So here I'm bringing the background in. It is pretty much dry. There's one little spot that's wet, so I just get a tissue and I dap it down and I call it a day. I wipe my hand across just to make sure that all the white dots are dry, and I think it does smudge a few of them, but I actually don't mind it. So I am going to cut it, and so here, so I don't have fuzzies, you see me looking for a replacement blade. And so I don't want to have to try to remove fuzzies off of photo paper. So I'm going to speed this process up for you right now. You know what? I just cut the whole damn thing out. So here I am, blade intact, brand new, and I'm lining up the paper. So in my mind, so here's going to be a story where we watch this because I want to, just droll on, is that this is a standard card. And it's not quite a standard card. So here I'm thinking I'm cutting, taking off the standard 1/4 inch and so forth. So I'm doing the whole, 4 1/4. No, I need to do 4 for the mat. Now I need to do 3 3/4 for the actual galaxy paper. Okay, as I was talking about measurements, you may have noticed me turning the paper. So when I did the blending on the paper, since I didn't use a die to cut out the mats, one edge is going to be white and the other edge is going to have some ink on it. So because of the measurements, I knew that if I cut down the center or cut in deeper, than the required. So if I needed 3 3/4 wide, I went to 4, and then I would turn it and cut the other quarter of an inch off so that that way all the edges around are going to be nice and white. That way there's a match and I don't have to go back and try to ink the edges. You could even probably, if you don't use a die and use paper trimmer, just do black edges with a marker real quick if that's what you wanted to do. I had to do 20 some 21 and one was doing 24 or something like that. So you did this too. You're trying to figure out the least amount of steps, but that still looks good. Okay, so here I have everything prepped and ready to go. The last thing you're going to do is to add the sentiment, but I'm making an assembly line. So I know that when I make a card, I like to make multiples. I don't like to cut into paper and just have such amount of scrap left over. If I'm going to make a card, I'm going to make four. If if I get to use them, great. If not, I pass them on. So if you're watching this far and you want one of the four videos, sorry, not videos, if you want one of the four cards that was made, and I have an extra one from the expo that I didn't put out. We had to put 20 out and keep one in a little stand. The 20 went to the participants, the one went to the expo. I guess they keep them on file. I don't know, maybe they collect them. Just I couldn't imagine that they have 21 years of card swaps. Maybe if they've been doing it for that long. But anyway, so I put that out, but I still had an extra one, and I have the four more that I've been creating here. So if you've lasted this long in this video and you want one, then you know what? Put it in the comments below. Tell me you want one, and then you can send me a message on the messenger in the Facebook group that this is being posted in, which I will also link in the description below. So here I am using the stamp, and since we didn't have, it suggested no theme, it suggested colors, pink, purples, I think, whatever. And then I think it did suggest sympathy, if anything. I didn't want to do sympathy, so I thought follow your dreams was a nice enough simple sentiment that is, how you call it, general enough that it could be used for multiple things. And then since we're talking galaxy and space, I thought it went well with the look and the vibe of the card. So here we go. I'm putting them together. We all get to this moment, we're like, yes. And then I noticed that these ain't standard cards. It's actually 4 by 5.5. Not 4 1/4, but four. So every single thing that I have cut is a quarter of an inch too wide. So now I'm realizing how am I going to deal with this? I don't even know. So here we come back with the trimmer. I don't know if this happens to a lot of crafters. I don't know if I was distracted or what. I don't recall this happening to me when I made the first batch. And so here we are having to adjust everything else. Okay, so I'm going to take these mats, which all the white mats were at 4 and 4, sorry, 4 because I thought that the cards were 4 1/4, and I have to cut them down to 3 3/4. So I'm doing that, get that done. Thankfully, I had changed the blade, so no fuzzies on that extra cut. And now I'm looking at what I have going on because I didn't cut the galaxy paper that was at 3 3/4. And so originally I had a mat that went around the entire galaxy. So you look at the thumbnail when we first started the video, you see that. And what I decided to do was to just leave a top and a white simple peek out for the paper. So right now I'm putting all the mats in because not everything is on point. Okay, so chop this up because you don't want to see me putting mats in. I am layering everything. I'm putting the mats inside, and then I am, like I said, leaving the galaxy and the white mat the same thickness so that you see a top and the bottom peek through of white. And then I'm going to assemble the cards. So we will go through that process and then we will be done with the video. So basically, here are the elements that are going to go on. I had stamped all of the sentiments on the bottom, more or less the center. I think I pretty much got them good. One of them might be a little bit more to the right, but that's okay. Going to use the what do you call it? glue dots now. That's going to be a big thing here. So I'm going to be putting a bunch of glue dots, and let me see if I'm going to speed this up because again, this is a repetitious process. And even though I could have, and maybe I should have, put together a whole complete card and called it a day, that's not how I work. So I have to put them in like an assembly line. So I'm going to be putting two glue dots on the black outline cutout, gluing that to the vellum, and I'm going to do that to every single one, and then I'm going to put the gems, and then I'm going to adhere them to the actual base of the card. So I'm going to speed that up for you right now. Okay, so I was going to do some silence while this was happening, but I felt like that would not be good. Just dead air for like 5 seconds. So I'm just putting this, I'm kind of trying to show you how they're laying out, centering them, and then I think I showed like how I'm lifting them up, and now I'm showing you the dollar store. You know, these are awesome. In the dollar store, they have these. They're super thick, nice, super sticky, and they give a lot of dimension. So, again, speeding up this process, we're just putting tape on the back of the mats, and you can see that I'm showing you. I never noticed how shiny they stayed. I have to look at my original ones. I think they did have a little bit less sheen. So there is a difference between photo paper. So if you have different types of photo paper, definitely try them out. Try this and see what happens because evidently it matters. Here I'm done! Anyway, so I'm going to bring in the original. Let's see, does it shine on the page? I don't. Yeah, it does have a little bit of sheen too. It's not as shiny as the Epson, but it is very similar, and you can see that the card looks similar. Okay, so that's my card. That's my process. And so I'm going to show you a couple of photos. This was the original. And you can see the white mat all the way around and the bigger white blotches that came when the ink was removed using the HP glossy paper. And this is the Epson. I think it held on to the ink much better, so the colors are richer, and I used a splatter to get the white. Okay, so that was my card, and I want to thank you for having survived the 20 something minutes that it took to go through this. And I hope the choppiness wasn't too bad. If you liked it, come back, subscribe to my channel, and visit now and then. I'm going to try to post videos once school year starts and gets back on track. So what I'm going to show you next is the 20 cards that I selected, and I'll give you a little blurb as to why I picked the card that I did. So first card, this looks like embroidery when you see it in person. So it is a beautiful card. I wish I knew the names of these people. The sliding element of this door back and forth, always love something that is interactive. I haven't taken anything out of the packages, so I haven't really explored them, but this is beautiful. This one is very interesting. It opens up. I wish I could take even more pictures, but it's just time is not permitting me right now. But it opens up to this 3D dimensional. This is this layering. All of these different diagonal diamond shapes are all different cuts, die cuts. This guy's cute. I love the winter time, and he's got like a little bobbly head or something like that. So I have to just grab him. Very very cute. I loved the Black Eyed Susan here with the, I don't know what they put on it, like gems or some kind of pasty glittery something on the top part. It was beautiful. I picked this because my daughter is a straight up tomboy, and made me think of her, and so I grabbed this card. So I picked that up. Then we do a lot of breast cancer awareness, at least when the UFT goes pink, and so I grabbed this card because it does represent that cause. Been doing a lot of paintings with silhouettes and outlines of women, and this brought that to mind, so thought it was lovely with this die cut, so I grabbed this one. I like the lattice work and the detail with the gems. I thought it was very thoughtful and very pretty, so I grabbed this guy. And the next one is very simple. It reminded me of my mother. Her favorite color is purple. She doesn't understand why I'm a crafter. She's so not into this, so she would appreciate something very simple. Curtain card or drape card or whatever this is called. I've never done one, so I really wanted to get my hands on one to examine it. It's pretty. I like the differences of the two pattern papers. Love autumn colors. This drew my eye very much so. It's something that I would do myself, so I grabbed it. This is for the daughter that I wish I had. She's such a tomboy, and I wish she liked these little girly, like this idea of little pink boots. She never had pink boots when she was little. This one, and there's another one coming up. They seem to have used the alcohol method, so I grabbed it to take a better look at that, and I liked the antique way it looked. The center has like some kind of texture. I love the snow, I love the winter, so this is very pretty. And so I grabbed it. My brother is into owls, so I got this one for my brother. Not to send it to him, but in mind of him because he's into owls. The dog. It's a sense of sympathy card, which I feel so bad, but my daughter loves dogs. I thought it was very cute. It could be very inspirational. I like the inking technique. Again, this is the other one that I believe is alcohol. I like the layers, the glitter paper, very well put together. I think it's charming. And this is the most anticipated, no, appreciated, because it has that interactive pop-up little flower in the corner. So those are my grabs. So again, if one of these 20 cards was yours, shout it out in the comments below. Go back to the Facebook page, tag my post, add yourself there, add a comment with your name and the photo. I would love to know who it was because I really straight up don't remember. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to come by, and I will catch you in another video. Take care. Bye.